Hello and welcome. Since I posted a tile the other day, I've had several questions about the tangle Mysealiam, which I used in the centre of this Zentangle here. And Mysealiam is this tangle. And I thought I'd very quickly show you how you can draw Mysealiam. I'm going to use a 0.5 Micron in black. This is a lovely organic tangle that you can, they never look the same. They always sort of change as you do them. Okay, so what we're doing, and I'm using a Phi tile, so it's not a square, it's an oblong. And I'm going to start here and I'm going to do sort of a wobbly line, like so. And once you've done that wobbly line, we're going to join some lines that come down to make like a sort of fishy tail almost. So I'm going to actually start in the middle. And I'm just going to bring a line down and I'm going to put a little curve on the bottom. And can you see how I curved it at the top? And now I'm going to add some weight. And that's just a little triangular, I'll try and say the word right, V shape at the top. And I can add a little bit of ink in there. So that's your first line. You move along and we're going to do another line and we're going to aura alongside, but then we're going to taper it in so it meets the other line. And you can pop your little triangular section at the top, which is, it's called weighting, as in heavy weight. You're adding some weight of ink. And you can see I'm adding another aura that tapers in, and tapering is where you feed into another line so you can't see where they join. And then I add another little bit of weight. And we keep doing that, and we can sort of make this sort of as bendy as we like, as curvy as we like. That's the nice thing about a tangle like this. You can really sort of, I don't know, make it move. And I'm going to bring this one round here. And if this is your first go of Mysealiam, just allow yourself to go with it. So now we've got to do the other side. So you've got to sort of almost reverse what you're doing. So I'm now going to draw a line. So made that little gap, a line down, and I'm going to taper it in on this side. And I'm going to add a little bit wider. And can you see that tapering that I do there as well? And ink that in. Bring this down, curve it round. And I would always suggest, when you're doing a tangle that's new to you, have a look at various different versions. Some of them you may prefer more than others. And just sort of stop and think, well, how have they done that? Rather than maybe rushing in and going, oh no, I can't do this. You definitely can. And a tangle like this, you can see I just extended that just a little bit, so I can get another one in here now. I've even forgotten what I was going to say then. It'll come back. Okay, so that is the bottom of your Mysealiam. We're going to turn the tile. Okay, so we're going to do the same, but not quite. This time we're going to create that wavy line, but we're not going to attach it to the original baseline. So we're going to start a line. I'm going to start it here. Can you see I haven't started it near that line? And I'm going to do a curve. Now we need to make the V, the widening at the top. So I'm going to put a little line at the top and add that V and ink that in. So it's freestanding, it's not attached. I'm going to do another one. So this one comes around and it's tapering in, as you can see. I can add a little line at the top and add my V to create the weight. And we can keep doing this all the way along. So you're sort of mirroring what you did on the first lot of lines, but can you see we're not attaching them? And what that does is it creates sort of a visual white line. Your eye perceives it to be a white line, even though there's nothing there other than that white space, negative space. And you can see I'm curving these round so they're getting a little bit shorter, but I'm trying to keep that gap, this gap here, sort of even. So as long as I start my next curvy line roughly where I want that line to extend. Okay, and I think that'll be okay. So you can start seeing how you get this sort of really lovely oniony shape. Okay, so now we've got to do the other side. So same thing, come down here, keep that gap, draw a little line at the top and bring it over. Oops, I was going to do the line first. I sometimes do my little straight line first, but I didn't want to confuse you. Okay. So you don't want the weighting to be big and fat. You just need it to be, if I say just so, you can make it really thin and skinny, and that works well. Or you can make it, I've done them a little more chunky here, and that comes across like so. I'm going to feed that down a little bit and come back, because what that does is it sort of mirrors that pointy bit of that line, and in fact I'm just going to curve that round as well. And there you have your inked mycelium just there. So now we need to do some shading, and I keep shading very simple with mycelium. I've got my pencil, which has got quite a nice sharp point, no stubby pencils, and I'm going to add shade along this bottom line. So I'm just going to pop graphite in the white spaces. Okay, I'm adding quite a bit using the side of my pencil. Okay, just like so. And then using my tortillon, my little twisted paper tool, I can soften those down. Now just be aware that you've got a lot of ink in the triangular spaces in your weighted areas, and that can compromise the paper surface a little bit. It makes it a little bit more fluffy, a bit softer. Can you see how that sort of makes that look like it goes underneath? It's fantastic. Yeah, so just be careful when you're adding graphite into areas that have a lot of ink, so you don't need to do very much. As you can see, I added a little bit of graphite into the base. I'm not going to do them along the top here. All I'm going to do is I'm going to add some into the pointy top. Sometimes I think they look like little pixie hats. And soften it so it blends in at the top, and then you just soften that down so you lose that harsh pencil line. Okay, so that is a mycelium, and you can carry on and add some more, and you can tuck them in behind. So let's do one here. So I'm going to do one here. I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. So that's starting off. This time I'm going to bring its tail to meet this one. You don't have to. And once you've got the understanding of how this tangle builds up, you can do it fairly quickly. I've got a little bit of a creaky table here, so I'm sorry about that. And I'm actually not in my home. I'm somewhere else at the moment, so I'm using a different table, so it's just a little bit creaky. And so you can see how quickly this is building up, and once you get into the flow of it, you can create a whole pod of mycelia. I suppose that's what they are. The plural of mycelium is mycelia, and a pod. I called it a pod because I think they sometimes look like little sea creatures, and I was thinking of pods of sea creatures. And you can see how very quickly you can create another one, and they're sort of addictive because they don't have to be exactly the same. You can make them bigger or you can make them smaller. You can make them more curvy around. I'm just going to bring that around a little bit, make that a little bit softer. Sorry, I'm spinning my tile around. I think it's always good to look at your tile from different angles. Get an idea of what you're creating looks like if you turn your tile around. And so you can see now I'm getting towards the end of this one, and bring this around here. I absolutely love adding weight to ends of lines. You see I added just a little flourish at the end there. You can end up with a whole family of these mycelium, and you could also add in, maybe you fancy, I've done a tile using just one of the grey microns, so you can do some softer ones in the background, but doing one like this, and I keep the shading very, very simple. Just like so. And add some dark into its little top knot. And there we are. And you have 2 mycelia. So I hope that makes it a little bit easier for you to create. And I look forward to seeing what you do. Bye.